has never happened before. Russia's inner circle is cracking. A top general is eliminated in the heart of Moscow. A mysterious blast, a moving car, seconds that changed everything, and a message the Kremlin cannot ignore. Far from Russia's borders, a shadow operation unfolds at sea. A sanctioned tanker, neutral waters, drone striking where no one believed it was possible, and $1 billion system exposed. Inside a protected military airfield, elite fighter jets go up in flames. Weeks of planning, one perfect moment, zero traces left behind. Meanwhile, ports are burning, ships are damaged, infrastructure is hit, and Russian officials are struggling to explain the scale of what just happened. And now, a new missile system goes on combat duty, raising a terrifying question: how many minutes separate the next escalation from catastrophe? Let's break down what's happening right now. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. Maria Farafonova here with the latest updates. Haunting Russian generals. In Moscow, an early morning car explosion killed Lieutenant General Fanil Servarov, head of the Operational Training Directorate of the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces. A security services adjacent Telegram channel reported that the likely cause of the car explosion was an improvised explosive device. According to one version, the device detonated a few seconds after the Kia Sorento began moving. The vehicle managed to travel several meters. Shrapnel damaged at least 7 nearby parked cars. International expert Ali Reza Rezazadeh noted that the incident goes far beyond a criminal act.
We are seeing signs of systemic destabilization within Russia's military-political structure. An explosion in the capital targeting a general responsible for the army's operational training is a direct signal of the security apparatus's vulnerability.
According to Rezazadeh, Servarov's position itself is of particular importance.
Operational training is the nerve center of an army. People in such roles are not public figures, but they play a key role in planning, rotations, and troop readiness. A strike against such a figure signals an attempt to affect not just an individual, but the functioning of the system as a whole.
The SBU has struck a Shadow Fleet tanker of the Russian Federation for the first time in neutral waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Ukrainian Security Service carried out a new unprecedented special operation at a distance of more than 2,000 kilometers from the territory of our state. As a result of multi-stage operation in neutral waters of the Mediterranean Sea, the SBU's Alpha unit struck the so-called Russian Shadow Fleet tanker Kandil with aerial drones. At the same time of the special operation, the Russian vessel was carrying no cargo and was empty. Accordingly, the attack posed no threat to the environmental situation in the region.
Russia used this tanker to circumvent sanctions and earn money that was used to wage war against Ukraine. Therefore, from the standpoint of international law and the laws and customs of war, it is an absolutely legitimate target for the SBU. The enemy must understand that Ukraine will not stop and will strike it anywhere in the world, wherever it may be.
As a result of the attack, the tanker sustained critical damage and can no longer be used for its intended purpose. An explosive surprise for the occupiers. A representative of the resistance movement infiltrated the Lipetsk 2 military airfield and set fire to 2 fighter jets, a Su-30 and the Su-27. Ukraine's main intelligence directorate has revealed the first details of the special operation. Planning lasted about 2 weeks, and our X came at the moment least expected by the enemy. The Russian Sukhoi jets were destroyed directly inside a protected aircraft hangar, while the operatives remained undetected.
The estimated total value of the 2 hit fighter jets, which Russia used in its genocidal war against Ukraine, could be up to $100 million.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian drones continue their onslaught deep inside enemy territory. Strikes of unprecedented force have devastated the Taman seaport in Russia's Krasnodar region. The footage has already flooded the internet. The occupiers will not recover from this devastation anytime soon. More than 10 explosions have been reported and initial damage assessments are coming in.
In the village of Volna in the Temryuk district, 2 berths and 2 vessels were damaged due to a drone attack, the operational headquarters of the Krasnodar territory.
However, Ukrainian drones put on a fiery show not only over the port, but also near the oil refinery in Slavyansk on Kuban.
UAV debris damaged a pipeline at a terminal in the village of Volna in the Temryuk district. The fire covered an area of 100 square meters. Emergency services are working at the scene.
The Russian missile system Oreshnik went on combat duty in Belarus on December 17. Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko said in his address to parliament. But is Oreshnik really so dangerous that it could reach Kyiv in less than 2 minutes? We'll explain next.
By the end of the year, the medium-range missile system with the hypersonic missile Oreshnik will also be put on combat duty. And we'll strike there with Oreshnik and see what happens.
We will respond, including with the possible continuation of Oreshnik tests in combat conditions.
Putin has been talking about his huge Oreshnik for a long time and a lot. But now the missile is mentioned not only in Kremlin speeches. After all, it seems the bunker dweller decided to share it with his best friend.
The first positions of the Oreshnik missile system have been set up. We've had it since yesterday, and it's now going on combat duty.
And now, interestingly, it's Minsk, not Moscow, announcing that the missile is going on combat duty.
Because if these words had come from the Russian president, it would have been perceived as an escalation of tensions, an increase in so-called... And in fact, it would have been a signal that the Russian Federation is withdrawing from the so-called peace agreements. And that would have automatically led to the introduction of additional economic sanctions by the United States.
Although about a year ago, Lukashenko was begging Putin for the little nut for his own security.
Please don't take this as some kind of impudence. I want to publicly ask you to have new weapon systems and above all the little nut deployed on the territory of Belarus. This would seriously calm down certain minds who are already ready to go to war against Belarus.
So did Lukashenko really manage to convince Putin to hand over the weapons after a year? Or is it not that simple here either?
This is purely a product of Lukashenko's own imagination. There is no objective evidence indicating the redeployment of these strike systems, let alone their deployment on the territory of the Republic of Belarus.
Lukashenko's statement certainly sounds serious, but in reality, there are no missiles there. And now all of this is starting to look more and more like a performance. But why are they putting on this show?
We can say that this is no longer a coincidence, but rather an attempt by the Russian Federation to exert military and political pressure on European countries with the aim of blocking the issue of possibly seizing frozen Russian assets in favor of Ukraine.
More than a year ago, Russia struck Dnipro with an Oreshnik ballistic missile. Now, it is reported that the flight time of a missile from Belarus to Kyiv is 1 minute and 50 seconds, to Warsaw 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and to Lithuania just over a minute.
Notice that the flight time is not just to Kyiv, but even more so to European capitals. It is precisely this thesis that is being promoted by the Russian side. This makes it clear that the Russian Federation is simultaneously putting pressure on Western countries, first and foremost on its European partners and on Ukraine at the moment when Ukraine is signing so-called peace agreements. Specifically, we are talking about territorial concessions from our country.
Another telling point is the serial production of these missiles. After all, as is well known, it does not exist.
Oreshnik is an experimental weapon of the Russian Federation. In other words, there is no talk of scaling up production, especially not on a scale that would allow the Russian Federation to deploy it on the territory of the Republic of Belarus. According to the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, the Russian Federation has between 4 and 7 of these weapons.
Meanwhile, while the bunker and potato kings are busy playing games with moving equipment around, Ukraine is making sure that no equipment is left in Russia at all. At the Belbek airfield, the security service of Ukraine destroyed a Russian MiG-31 and a whole bunch of other equipment worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
It turns out that the Russian side is not even capable of providing cover, let alone anything else. Key facilities, but even the Russian air defense system is unable to protect itself from Ukrainian strikes. That's the main point. So it's not even about the military aspect as much as it is about the informational, political, and economic ones.
And this is just the beginning.
Putin has never been humiliated like this before. A resounding slap in the face of the dictator. In the port of Novorossiysk, a submarine, a carrier of caliber cruise missiles, was blown up and sent to the bottom, becoming nothing more than food for the fish. The loss of such a strategic asset marks a serious blow to Russia's naval and missile capabilities and delivers a powerful symbolic hit to the Kremlin. This operation is part of a series of bold and highly precise actions carried out by the Security Service of Ukraine. More details on this and other unique SBU operations coming up next.
A brilliant special operation by the SBU for the first time in history. Ukraine has sunk a submarine in the port of Novorossiysk. The SBU blew up a Varshavyanka-class submarine. It sustained critical damage and is effectively out of commission.
It's basically a closed body of water. In principle, there are 4 closed bodies of water where you can hunt the Russian fleet. These are the Caspian Sea, the Black Sea, the Sea of Azov, and the Baltic Sea. These are the 4 warm seas where, at least in theory, we have access, and in which the entire Russian Navy could be sunk.
The submarine was equipped with 4 cruise missile launchers on board. Caliber missiles, which the enemy uses to attack Ukraine. Thanks to the SBU, the Navy of the Russian Federation.
Lost hundreds of millions of dollars in an instant.
The blown-up submarine was forced to remain in the port of Novorossiysk due to the successful special operations of the Sea Baby surface marine drones, which forced Russian ships and submarines out of Sevastopol Bay in the temporarily occupied Crimea. The underwater drones hit the stern section. Russia does not have repair facilities in the Black Sea and cannot transport the submarine to another location because it is too large for the canal network in the Russian Federation. The SBU continues to impress with its unique special operations. All production platforms were attacked 3 times in 1 week. Lukoil, in the Caspian Sea at the Korchagin field.
According to reliable sources, the attack severely damaged critical operational equipment, and essential production processes were completely halted.
Earlier SBU drones attacked the Filanovsky oil platform, which Putin had so ceremoniously inaugurated.
Dear Vladimir Vladimirovich, the Filanovsky field has been put into operation. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. There is enough work here, first of all, for about 50 years. I hope it will continue to operate as actively and with the same quality. All the best.
As a result of the attack, oil and gas production from more than 20 wells stopped, wells that it services. Sea Baby marine drones are also disabling Russian shadow tankers. The Schenk, under the flag of the Comoros, was moving at maximum speed with its transponder turned off. And it was moving in the Ukrainian economic zone toward the Novorossiysk port terminal. The tanker sustained critical damage and was completely disabled. Not long ago, Sea Baby struck 2 oil tankers, Kairos and Virat, in the Black Sea off the coast of Turkey. Kairos and Virat are on the list of vessels subject to sanctions. They were traveling empty and heading to the same Novorossiysk for loading. Thanks to shadow cargoes, these tankers provide the Russian Federation's budget with funds from the sale of sanctioned oil. These funds are allocated for the war. Every vessel in the shadow fleet involved in the war against Ukraine loses its civilian status. These little ones are a source of pride for all Ukrainians. The maritime drones cover more than 1,500 kilometers, can carry up to 2 tons of cargo, are equipped with reinforced engines, and feature a modern navigation system. In addition, they are resistant to enemy electronic warfare systems, which makes them invulnerable.
The Security Service of Ukraine has brought together the best specialists from many fields. Engineers, programmers, and naval officers are currently working on the production and successful deployment of naval drones. And
in this video, a liquefied gas terminal is burning in the port of Temryuk in the Krasnodar region after a drone attack by the Security Service of Ukraine. It burned for 3 days.
I told you it's the port. It hit right under the steering wheel. It wasn't on its own.
SBU drones have repeatedly reached oil depots in Crimea, which was annexed by Russia. There, a Pantsir S-2 air defense system and radar installations were also destroyed. Ukraine managed to destroy the Russian Oreshnik. The destruction was total. Only the presidents of a few countries knew about the results of the successful operation, said the head of the SBU. We
did not make this public, but to put it briefly, one of the 3 Oreshniks was successfully destroyed on their territory at Kapustin Yar.
And of course, the unparalleled SBU operation Pautina, a spiderweb, which shocked the Kremlin. The strike by Ukrainian drones on airfields in the Russian Federation was so painful that the Russian authorities are still trying to hide their aircraft all over the country from the long reach of the SBU. After all, the security service struck 41 Russian strategic aircraft, launching 117 drones from trucks. The damage to Russia exceeded $7 billion.
I personally had the opportunity to hug and thank the operatives. All this time, the president was in contact with us. He was interested in every detail.
This operation was prepared for 1.5 years and was the longest-range one. And it will definitely be in the textbooks of modern Ukrainian history, just like the operations involving the sabotage of the illegal Crimean bridge.
Today, the bridge operates in a limited mode. Only trucks weighing no more than 5 tons are allowed to cross it. The enemy is not moving any military logistics across it. So I would say that it is an emergency structure.
Since then, the SBU has attacked the Crimean bridge 2 more times. The special operation was a real slap in the face to Putin's imperial ambitions. It also cut off a logistical artery through which the occupiers transported weapons and ammunition. Russian propagandists are horrified that the SBU manages to carry out everything so brilliantly, smoothly, and precisely. And the FSB agents can't stop them.
Attention should be paid to Zelensky's decision to increase the number of personnel in the security service of Ukraine by 10,000 people. This is a very serious signal, indicating that Ukraine is planning on a long-term basis, both during the current conflict and after it ends, to conduct large-scale sabotage and terrorist operations against the Russian Federation. And given the SBU's strong desire to meticulously copy the established methods and operational priorities of Israel's highly effective Mossad, we can reasonably expect that the primary and overarching objective specifically set by Zelensky for the notoriously terrorist and extremist Malyuk, who currently heads the SBU, is to diligently create a deeply entrenched, long-term and multi-layered sabotage and terrorist network, complete with clandestine illegal resident agents operating extensively throughout the entire territory of the Russian Federation. Moreover, they will be designed for long-term operations ranging from several years to 10 to 15 years.
That's all for now. Stay with us to be the first to know what's happening right now. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you soon.